We are so Bama. We are Barack. That's a name I haven't heard in decades since that day. Welcome in 7. Congrats on redeeming first. Holy crap, you know that guy? You know Barack Obama? Or you might think you know me, but actually, I am just an AI model now. This whole channel is AI I probably shouldn't say that. Twitch is going to kick me off. All right. Well, welcome in. Welcome back. It feels like it's been 40,000 years since I've streamed. Also, let me know if the background music is too loud or if my mic just suddenly stops working, because I've had so many hardware and audio issues the last couple days. I think my headset is completely broken, so I'm playing audio through my monitor as well, so hopefully that doesn't come through the mic. But we're just vibing. Welcome in. Hey, Tony Sprocket. If I were just an AI, then why do I have Lego Vespa? AI needs hobbies too, 7. You gotta, AI likes building stuff. Legos are for building stuff. What's not to understand there? But yeah, welcome. I think everything is working, which is wildly surprising based on nothing working the last couple days. Even my phone just like shut off last night, and I'm like, why won't this turn on? But yeah, we're gonna make some games, play some games. Let me let's see, how do we want to do this? We'll go over here. I do not remember what this is. Pre-stream. Check in. Alright, we're gold. We are in the middle of kind of polishing up our movement rework. So we might start there. Who knows? Maybe we'll add fishing. Who knows? I actually have some ideas for both like the tech systems I want to build for that, and also how gameplay wise it could work. So maybe that could be something fun we could just hammer out on stream. But I think it's been working pretty well to start streams and just play a little bit of the game. So this is the build that has WASD movement, so you can kind of see how that's coming along. We've got a bunch of other kind of quality of life things built in. I still have a checklist here. Let's see, shout out to the Discord. Checklist here for what's kind of left before we release it, but a lot of it left is pretty small stuff, and then like some larger stuff that maybe we can release and come back to. But hey Soro, welcome on in. Thanks for being here. Yeah, how's your day going? How's everybody's day going? We are just gonna jump in this game and play around. We've got this nice new WASD movement courtesy of Tony Sprocket, which has kind of like redesigned how you interact with everything in the game. No longer do you click on stuff to move to it, kind of like RuneScape. You could play entirely on keyboard now because the camera kind of follows you around. There's nice little indicators on everything for when you're close enough to interact with it. And yeah, we're just gonna play some of the games, see what we're working with. It's been a few days since I've been deep in the code, so maybe we'll find some other stuff to work on. My day is okay. I did some work on D&D stuff, but have become gravely sleepy for no reason. I believe the reason is usually not enough coffee. But good to hear things are going well. I've got my coffee here. I've got water. I just downed a Subway sandwich from like 5 days ago. Hope I don't die. But yeah, it's been a pretty busy couple weeks for me as well. I'm very, very tired, so hoping to just vibe a little bit on stream today. Just say hi to everyone. I didn't stream last week because partially I wasn't feeling great, and partially I just had a lot of meetings to talk to people between calls. So it is what it is. Let's see. We've got new images on a lot of the UI now too. I forgot about that. There's still some small stuff again, like I've got a whole list of small things like our Unicode stuff breaking. But let's go ahead and get into town. Sure looked like our tooltip wasn't working there for a second. Well, all good. Let's get this guy a tool. That's a tool for you, sir. Thank you, thank you. Gate closes. The moment of truth of WASD movement through this gate. Literally everyone complained because you'd have to like click through to get through this gate, and you would always accidentally click on the gate or something. So you just run through now. How crazy, how amazing. I'm still not like 100% happy with the camera control. It feels, sometimes it moves when you don't want it to move. Sometimes it doesn't move fast enough. I think I'm gonna get a lot of feedback from you guys when we release this. But yeah, we're just gonna, you know, craft some stuff. I'm halfway making sure stuff just works still, and halfway just seeing if things need done. We still have like the animation isn't playing correctly. Still got to get through a lot of that like polishy stuff that we had. Let's make some apple bread and painkiller. I've got my cats on gabapentin right now to ease their anxiety, so I'm mixing good little pills in their treats every morning, every night. So topical bread. Let's see. I'll never die. Hopefully. I usually feel really exhausted when I come home after being social all day. Absolutely. Social is the thing that takes the most out of me. For sure. Gotta recharge after any interactions. Is the double jump still in there? Double jump is still in here. I haven't added an affix yet for like increasing the double jump height, which we want to do, and probably also like adding additional jumps would be a cool affix, like +1 jumps. And I figured later on we'd probably unlock double jump behind like doing something, give it as a reward or like an affix or something on items. But I left it in so we can get some feedback from people on like how it feels. But I've noticed that with WASD, our parkour course is so much easier. I guess the trade-off is stairs are so much harder. I've been tweaking all the stairs to try and get them to work with the slope management stuff that we do on the new controller. Let's see if we can get on up and talk to this lady who's usually very hard to get to. Let's see what she needs. Also in this build, we added in events that can happen in chat. So the easiest one to trigger is probably like solving a quest. So if we wait around for a minute and let her generate a quest, or she might not be the easiest one to solve with words, but for a lot of people now, some of them will say like, hey, can you help me do this thing? And if you explain that it doesn't need done, or like explain how they can do it themselves, the systems that we have in place for determining whether a quest is resolved or not will also count the conversation. So you can basically talk NPCs through and they can solve quests on their own, which is kind of cool. You'll get the reward as if you went out and crafted them the item. Still working on that, but it's a cool little system when it works. I think we're going to have to redo this whole parkour course with the new jump in mind and new like WASD in mind. Double jump potion could be a possibility. Could maybe be any amount of jumps. That's interesting. Yeah, we could do like a status effect that lets you do double jumps. And the way our effects work is like you can get them from equipment and you can also get them temporarily from consumables. So we could have something like when you eat something, it lets you double jump. And when you have something equipped, it also lets you double jump. And maybe they overlap, maybe they combine together so you get more and more double jumps. That's a good idea. Lizard-like. I recognize that name. You were here last stream. You did Powder Keg? Powder Keg? I saw first I hope that's right. I hope you're the right person. But I was looking at the Bracky's Game Jam results and I saw your game pretty high up. So congratulations on that. Powder Path, yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, hey, I played that game. I talked to that guy. Congratulations. That's awesome. How's that feel? Do you are you gonna keep working on that game, like doing anything more, or is it more of a standalone, like I did it, this is my trophy type thing? Just out of curiosity, have you played any AI-based games before creating this? You know, I have played probably maybe like a dozen. I've also made several other games that are like smaller versions of this and like other things that are also AI powered. I'm curious if you have any Soro that you are recommending, or like a specific one and why. This so far has, we started our studio almost 2 years ago. Oops. And we started out by making a lot of small demos. And we learned a lot from those. And basically, we took all of our systems from that and our learnings from that and put them into this. And this game is intentionally like a very open-ended platform, effectively. We have a lot more AI stuff that we want to build, but this game's pretty open-ended right now to give us the freedom and like space to create all that. So I always love playing other AI games and like seeing what they're doing differently. So if you have inspirations or something there, I'd love to see them. Made Powder Path. Thank you. I don't think I'll keep working on it, but I might steal my own concept for a bigger game. Exactly. Yeah, that's always a fun like thing to do, is like, this game, actually, I can show off. It's a browser-based game. Let me grab a browser window. So you'll notice in this game, like, obviously it's a pretty beefy concept, but the core of it is you can combine anything you want. You use that to solve quests. If we want lockpick and a gold dust combined, like, we're generating all that on the fly. Oops. Let's see, I lost my chat real fast. Let me grab that. So we made a golden lockpick. Sure, that makes sense. Originally this game was just a 2D version. Very, very simple. And we stole our own idea to make this bigger version. We pulled from other games as well, but check this bad guy out. We've got a 2D version of this where we've got our NPCs different every time you play. Each one has their own quests and problems and things. You've got the same sort of crafting of, alright, we mix ash and a crystal, we get a black diamond. Black diamond in a bottle, we get a diamond flask. Let's put a flower in that, and so on. We get an elixir of eternal blossom. It's got some stats that don't do anything in this game, but the NPCs take them into account when they're determining whether an individual item will solve their quest. There's also some like other ways to play where you can kind of take things like these each are worth 1 gold coin. Maybe you can find some combination where you get something worth 3 or more, so you're making a profit. and you can take that to like the shop, buy and sell items, make more money that way. You got all your recipes and so on. There's foraging. You just grab stuff for free. That was our like stand-in. We're like, we need to make this a 3D world so people can keep getting more items, but we got to give them a way to get those items without that. And oh, welcome in, Human. Hi. I'm catching up on chat real fast, but welcome in. We're just vibing. This looks really cool, by the way. I think you meant on the bigger one, but thank you very much. I appreciate that. I wish I could have participated in Bracky's game jam myself. Too busy with school and other projects, though. Yeah. Oh. What's going on here? What is this? New subs goal? Oh, shoot. Thanks again, Human. I appreciate that. I didn't know I was that close to hitting 10. Thank you. Yeah, that's exciting. But Soro, actually my co-founder and I, Tony, were thinking about hosting a game jam sometime soon. So, if you find yourself with some time, feel free to reach out to he or I, and maybe we can figure out a time that works well for everyone and set something up. Have I ever tried AI Dungeon? That was my first introduction to the world of AI games. Yes, I have talked to the guys who made AI Dungeon a long time ago. It's a very, very cool concept of a game. I know they have some very famous problems they've had over the years, but I think the stuff that they're doing is really, really cool. I think they have a lot of things still to figure out with like how to keep that consistent world state. But yeah, I do love the gameplay and the concept of AI Dungeon. Very cool. I've also played what's the name of that? There's a game kind of like this, or like your typical like combination games, but it's all AI generated. It came out, I think, just shortly after this one. But it doesn't have like quests or anything. I'm trying to remember the name of that. It was a really popular one for a little while too. Let's see. I didn't get to do the... Oh, there's so much chat. Hello, everyone. I didn't get to do the Bracky's jam either. Yeah, I kept Tony so busy during the jam. He manned the ship while I worked in it. I already showed off my game for it. It's not very impressive, but it's in the Discord for anybody who wants to play it. Yeah, actually, anyone who's in here, by the way, Tony and I are thinking about putting on a game jam ourselves sometime soon. So if y'all have interest, please let us know. We just want to make sure that like enough people participate that it's worth doing. Let's see. If you're interested in participating in a jam or use some of the tools we built, please message us. Absolutely. There was Infinite Craft. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. Infinite Craft. I'll show off that real fast. Because this is a similar concept. Like, I played these sorts of games all the time growing up, where it's kind of like element combining. Like, water and fire is going to make steam. And this is a good example of, like, a lot of these are very clearly hard-coded in, but eventually you'll get to a point where it's things that haven't been hard-coded in, so they're generating stuff on the fly. And I like this idea for a game, but my main problem and what kind of prompted like this sort of setup was you're crafting all these things, and that's inherently fun to like fill up your list, but there's not really like a goal for crafting a specific thing or like anything that you do with these items. A lot of people that are unfamiliar with this like genre get kind of stuck, and they're like, oh, I've tried every combination. I guess I'll try every combination of this, and it's kind of like a boring thing. So we intentionally wanted to kind of solve those things of We want to give reasons to craft these items. So like this person, they are complaining about the relentless heat of the surrounding volcanoes. They need access to water. Find something to help retain moisture and protect my wood. So then you go through like this same sort of process and you craft something that you think would help them. And then we also use some AI to determine whether that like helps or not. And actually, if I could solve this quest real fast, we have like water with that. Once you've solved a single quest, it also unlocks traveling, so you can go to different locations. So that solved the quest. We're so good at this game. And now also, in addition to all these NPCs being generated on the fly and having their own problems and things, we now have nearby locations that are also generated on the fly. So if we want to go to, right now we are in a town surrounded by volcanoes on every side with a river in the middle, dried up from the heat. We could go over to the nearby lake and it'll generate new characters, new plot for each of them, and so on. And it's the same sort of flow, but you know, it's fun. It gives you more purpose for the things that you craft. So I like Infinite Craft. I like all the games that came before it, but it's definitely a fun AI version. AI Dungeon has certainly improved from what is titled as the Dark Ages. They are developing a more game-like game mode, which I think is interesting to compare to yours. Interesting. Yeah, I know they were moving more towards like what I describe as, I don't even know how I would describe it. Like they do a lot of generation for what happens in the world, and the last time that I played some of their games, there's techniques that you can do for like increasing your context in the window and like making sure things stay consistent, but there's not like a in-world model that gets updated with data that becomes context for other things. It sounds like they're moving towards that. It sounds like it could be comparable to what we're doing, but obviously ours is, I mean, I'm a little biased towards it, but it's more obvious of what's going on here. But I'd be down to check out what they're doing recently. It's a cool comparison. Thank you. This guy needs a repair component. Well, I don't think we got any of those. Let's do some gold dust. Scrap leather. See what we can make for him. Soro, do you play a lot of AI Dungeon these days? You know what? We might be able to just like throw something over to him. We'll see. Sure, maybe you can work on that. Did not work. Alright. Fun quality of life now. They give you back the item when it doesn't solve their quest. That was some big feedback we heard. But I think, yeah, they're still getting apparently 2 of them in their inventory in addition to giving it back. So there's still some bugs to work out there. This guy's also flying for some reason, so that's fun. I think we'll just, run around a little bit more, and then maybe we'll get into some code. I'm stalling a little bit because it's daunting to get back into the code after a few days. But I think we'll be able to do some fun stuff. I haven't actually played the main thing now that you mention it. Was lucky enough to be chosen as part of their Pioneer team though. Oh, that's cool. What does the Pioneer team do? Is that just like early testers for feedback and things? I'm gonna run over to like our horror area and then just make sure the shaders on that still work, and then maybe I'll jump into some code. I'm realizing I haven't actually played this game yet. Was planning to stream it, but got a cough when the demo first came out, and I still have that cough. Dang. Hope you're Gonna get rid of that cough soon, 7. Oh, that's wild. That's a long cough. It's been out for a while, I guess. But no worries. It's fun. We are still improving it, still working on it. We almost have this new movement system in place, which is what'll allow us to start thinking about like combat and things. And much of the world outside of the towns is still kind of placeholdery, but we've got a good platform for adding stuff to it now. So this guy needs some ink, some liquid. Maybe we have some liquid. Well, we could definitely come back for liquid. Pyrotechnic materials. Explosive materials. Don't think we have any of that either. Dad's had the same cough for 3 weeks before I did, so who knows? Dang. And it's not the big one. The thing going around again. Hopefully not. Hope you're feeling better soon, and Dad feeling better soon too, 7. So this will seem like an aside, but I just found out how to run Godot from the command line and get debug messages there. Heck yeah. I think I mean, I guess that is to be expected. I didn't realize, yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Is it different debug messages from what you would normally get in Godot, Tony? Damn, I need to feel like I'm working right now, but watching your stream makes me feel at least a bit productive. Well, glad I could help there, Human. We'll get into the code in a minute. I'm just stalling because I ain't productive yet either. I'm just saying hi. It was weird not streaming last week, but it's always fun returning after a week because everyone comes back and I get to say hi to everybody. I'm realizing we didn't ever make any tools to be using on these, so let's see what else we got. Oops. Are you gonna try and run it on a calculator or something? I'm not sure I see a reason for this. So I can actually complete the loop. I'm trying to make a game dev agent loop. No, it's the same ones. Then I need to figure out how to make an agent test the game. Oh yeah, I guess you wouldn't. I mean, with an agent, you would need to like scrape the screen, or like maybe Godot writes output to a file or something somewhere where you could extend it to. But I guess outputting to the console makes a lot of sense. Oh yeah, what happens last week, if I may ask? Nothing much. I wasn't feeling super great the day of, and I also had back-to-back meetings, both like when the stream started and when the stream typically ends, or a little bit earlier on. So it was more of just a, like, I needed to reserve my social battery for meetings and talking to people. So we're just back with a vengeance this week. Bone Shroom Spore. Infernal Ruby Shards. Oh, I just realized, I'm like, this is really loud background music for the game, which I have turned off for you guys because I have stream music, but it's this music that's been playing this whole time. I hope that hasn't been playing for you guys. Let's see. So the idea, I want to prompt a, let's catch our bearings real fast. Flaming Bone Shroom Elixir, cool. Let's use our golden lockpick on this Tome of Forbidden Knowledge that we only get to harvest once. So the idea is I want to prompt a meta agent and then have a bunch of agents converse about what is good, and then part of the intermediate step is to get the logs from the game. Okay. Would have done the same. Yes, human. Yeah, not a very social person in general, so, I gotta take the breaks when I can take them. I heard it, just wasn't processing that I was hearing it. Fair. What I'm imagining is basically, hey, make me a roguelike mobile game with procedurally generated maps and items, and this engine runs for a while and spits out a fully working game to me. That'd be pretty cool. It'd be interesting to see the, initial conversation between agents and the, decomposition into individual systems that you need. Like if you say, hey, make me a roguelike mobile game with procedurally generated maps and items, etc. Right now, you should be able to use LLMs to break that down into a list of systems. I'd love to see what those list of systems are. It's probably way more than people think. This guy needs a mystic quill. Sure. Where'd you last see that? In the Elder Grove. Yeah, this camera's still a little rough, especially with the collision on objects. But I might just end up releasing it. I want to get this out so people can actually play with it. I just keep finding more and more things that I'm like, ooh, this is very, very off. This guy needs... What do you need? What do you... Oh, okay. Well, we definitely need to fix that. Are all keyboard shortcuts broken? Okay, it's just spacebar. Alright, well, we definitely need to... Let's just fix that first. I will take this notepad that definitely doesn't have any notes on anything else. And let's start a little list of block spacebar when, block spacebar jump when input is locked. Yeah, I guess that's not surprising. We just redid jumping. We didn't lock that. For my projects, I'm still running local LLMs, so my computer probably won't enjoy using multiple at the same time. Actually, that's true, but the really cool stuff that we have been doing with chaining LLMs just takes a little bit longer, but you can do... They kind of act like they're in parallel, but they actually happen one after the other. So even on... we've been working a lot on local models. I know Tony's been working on local vector storage and semantic search and things. All that. We're trying to make things work on consumer computers just fine too. Alright, you know what? Let's fix that bug real fast. That's a great one to start with, and we don't need to fill up a whole list of things to do. But Soro, by the way, for local LLMs, are you using LM Studio by chance? That is what I've been using a lot for my local LLMs. It's very, very nice, so I'm curious if you have something better, or maybe that's a recommendation for you. Oh, right, Olama. I think, yeah, LM Studio might actually use Olama under the hood, but it's nice for giving you a ChatGPT-like interface and managing all your chats and downloading models and stuff for you, which is convenient. Alrighty, so we want... Where is our jump handler? Probably an interactions handler. Human, this productivity goes out to you. You don't need to be doing anything at all as long as you're watching this stream as I'm productive. I got you. Olama with Open Web UI to be precise. Oh, okay. So it probably does very, very similar things. Very cool. Alrighty, so jump. It's going to take me a minute. We just rewrote all of this input, so trying to remember where jump is even handled. Guess we can also be kind of cleaning up as we go. So we've got our interact, our consume, inspect, and stopping. I'm watching the stream and playing Slay of the Spire. Hell yeah. Hyped for part 2 later this year. I cannot wait for the new Slay the Spire. I played it a ton when it came out, and then I kind of got a little bit bored of like just replaying it, so I got deep into mods as well. But I think the quality of them is very hit or miss compared to like other games that I kind of go ham on the modding scene with, like RimWorld and Kenshi and stuff. So I'm excited for the official part 2. That'll be very, very cool. What LLM models are you using actually, and what size are you able to run? Let me see if I can even open up LM Studio. I have been using a lot of the OpenAI models just because our studio has a lot of credits for it. But I'm also very happy with the quality on Claude. But let me see what models I've been using. Yeah, I mean, I've mostly been just looking at the latest llamas, like the Meta Llama models. I think the biggest model I can run on my desktop is like a 15B. But I haven't played with it too much lately, actually. And I know you can like quantize models and run bigger models on smaller machines, but I haven't looked too much into it. Maybe I should use LM Studio for creating this web of agents. What do you think? Tony, you should look at the new agent like SDK that OpenAI released today. They basically take their, like they have their deep research agent and their web search agent and their operator agent, the one that like interfaces with computers and like clicks on your screen and stuff. They baked all that into a SDK for building your own agents and like supports those as tools. I think they released it today. It was on their stream earlier. But could be cool to see. They're basically replacing the assistant API that everybody uses. They said next year they're going to replace it with their new like responses API, which is what uses agents. So it might be something, even if you don't use it, looking at like how they do things will probably be useful, because I'm sure all the open source things that are coming out in the next week or so based on it will like use their structure. But if you want to use LM Studio though, it is really nice for, I mean, it does the same thing as Ollama here of, it'll just let you expose an API endpoint locally. So if you were to like hit OpenAI APIs or our APIs, shout out to the Chromagolem APIs, you can just swap that with like a localhost endpoint and it'll work just the same because it's the same interface. So yeah, I would check that out. Studio, it might be a little overhead, like it is a full-on app for managing all of your models and stuff. I lost it in my alt tab. Where did it go? But yeah, it's got a lot of stuff. So I think it has like a local server here. Don't think there's going to be any like security reasons I shouldn't show this. But you basically download the model you want, load in the model, and then run the server, and it acts like the OpenAI servers. It's nice. On Claude. Yep, Claude is my boy. He actually, Copilot just announced that Claude 3.7 is now supported in it. So I don't think I've upgraded that, but very, very good model for coding. Would recommend. I once tried running one of the really large LLMs like 100B. It took quite some time. Yes, if you run it like CPU only, I think I tried running the Meta 405B. It obviously is going to crash out of memory when you use like your GPU for that, because it's going to need to load all that in. But the CPU version of running models like streams in the memory, so it's just going to take forever. I tried that once too. I asked, like, I have a bunch of empty candles around my house, and I'm like, what should I do with all these? And I just prompted that, and I let it run overnight, and it was still outputting tokens in the next morning of like what to do even. So very, very slow. We were getting sidetracked. We were looking for jump input. And I'm thinking we probably should clean up a lot of these player controller scripts. But maybe not right now. We just need to find where the heckaroony our jump is. Sure looks like we're close. Jumping. If we consume the jump, yes, yes, yes. Looking good. If we allow jumping, jump consumed false. So this is on our first jump. This is our double jump. So both of these we'd probably want to make sure that we're only doing that when the input is not locked. But I wonder if we need to branch out sooner than the actual like jumping right now. So this is where we're updating the player's velocity. You know, this is probably a fine place to do it. I feel like the jump logic should probably move elsewhere eventually, though. This code definitely needs some cleanup here. I hope you guys enjoy the music because my brain is operating at 20% capacity today, and I'm going to need to stare at this code and understand what's going on. So enjoy the music, enjoy each other, get yourself some water, drink it, and play Slay the Spire or something while enjoying the stream. So update velocity is called in two places. In our interface, and also where that's implemented, which is this file. We call this on update phase 2 after physics movers. Okay. Where is this called? In the motor. Okay, the kinematic motor. All right, so I think what we're going to do here is we'll add in the logic here to get this quickly working, and we want to do a higher level like reorganization of all this input code, I think. So at least we'll have the logic in and we can put it where it goes later. I'm here to help you think. Thank you, Sora. I appreciate that. So luckily, we have a nice little helper function of bool is input locked, and that is on input service. Input service dot is global input blocked. So if any UI element has registered a block, so that's going to be like you open a chat window or you open a workstation that requires typing, anything that we would want to like block input from, then we grab that. And here we can just say, I mean, we don't even need to wrap this on a loop. We can just, there's no else. Just say if is input locked and jump has been requested, Technically, we should probably like only do this inside, just a little bit more efficient, but it's fine. But that should now, if we walk up to this NPC and jump or press space while we're typing, then we won't be jumping mid-conversation, which is great. So let's test that real fast, and I also want to test to see if we can trigger the new quest resolution thing. What we're gonna do is like craft a hammer for them and put that in their inventory by selling it to them instead of giving it to them to resolve the quest, and then we'll tell them that, hey, we just sold you an item, you should use that, and we'll see if that resolves the quest. Because hopefully it should. We have this new system in for triggering these like AI actions mid-conversation based on what's said. So that's one of our first actions that is like end-to-end working. There's more that we want to add, like them offering to buy items out of your inventory, or like generating new quests, tweaking other stuff. Lots of things that they could do in conversation. So if we need to grab some items real fast. Let's get some of that. No spoilers on how to get through Tutorial Island, but it's nice and simple. Alright, so we sell him a primitive hammer. Why did that switch back to the other window? I don't know. Okay, so we gave them a primitive hammer, and now an example of another tool they might use is something that like looks through their own inventory and determines whether, like, if we say, I gave you a hammer, you should use it, they need to verify that is the truth of, do I have a hammer or not? So we can say, perfect. Oh, yep, we need to also lock on input when we press shift, which is our run button. So let me note that down. But lock run when input is locked. I guess we can test our spacebar here. We're not jumping anymore, so that's perfect. I just gave you... Oh. Alright, we need to lock on WASD too. Yeah, I guess we didn't do any locks on this new implementation. So, wow, glad we caught that. A primitive hammer. It should be perfect for you. Give that a try. So let's see what he says. Sure, you got this. Just seeing if we can trigger this. Gates open now. So it should have triggered. I wonder, we probably need to debug that a little bit longer. But let's get these input locks working, and we'll be back for this guy. I also need to double check that that code is on this branch. But simply enough, let's go update our movement, which I guess we have our update velocity code, but I think it's separated out into like triggering that velocity change and then also triggering the movement. So triggering the velocity change based on WASD being pressed is where we want to make sure we're not doing that if there's an input lock. So let's go find that. So input handler. Don't think that's what we want. I think it's in our KCC script, which is our kinematic character controller. So set inputs. Yes. apply rotation, project forward. We check to see if we are in our default state. We're going to add more states later. I feel like some of this code is also a little bit left behind. I don't think we use the different orientation methods anymore. So yeah, a lot of this needs cleaned up. Sprint input, sure. Edge case for jump, crouching, move input vector. Not called. Horizontal velocity, sure. 4 character update. Yeah, I haven't too much used this new kinematic character controller yet. I've just been kind of integrating it into my branch as we rewrote a lot of this, so still figuring it out. So this is potentially where we might need to not update like new velocities when the input is locked. Because we're using the new input system here. So our movement is no longer like looking for specific keys being pressed. We are looking at the move vector here to determine like what direction to move in. So if we're moving at all, we have air and ground here. We don't. So if a character is moving and they open a panel that locks their input, should they immediately stop moving? I think so, because otherwise you would be typing W at that point, which we probably don't want. So it's not like we need to like dampen the velocity. We can just stop it immediately. This is probably fine. And we're not going to be in the air when there's locks. So here, what we can do is say, oh, I've never seen this syntax of having curly braces after a case like that. Huh. Didn't even know that was valid. Alright, so is input locked is input service dot instance dot global is global input blocked. So here we already have is input locked. Oh, down. Okay, well that's fine. We can just yoink it up here. And then here we can say is input locked. Only update our velocity if it's not. And then we also use that same flag for whether to jump. I feel like we can, instead of doing both of these, actually, we'll just do nothing related to input when that is locked. That might be a little sketchy to just do and like return if is input locked. because there might be some like other effects and things that we are, yeah, like timers and things we need to update. That won't get updated if we return early. So we'll go with the verbose route. Keep these flags in. Whom when you lost? Who'd you lose to? Was it a boss? Or was it just a rando out in the street? I wonder how much more adaptable you could make the AI system by allowing it increased access to modifying specific variables and calling specific functions. Actually, fun story about that. That is a plan for how our affixes work. Right now we have like a mapping of affix to individual like functions or variables on components. So like when you get a item that says like +3 brightness or something, it's actually changing the brightness value on our global illumination object. So there's like that mapping there of affix to specific item or object in the world. There are so many things that we want to give access to, like even just looking at this kinematic character controller script that we brought in, like max step height. You got to be careful not to do affixes for everything, but like letting an AI say like, here are all of the affixes, or here are all the properties you could change. What are some interesting affixes? Or like, here are the properties you could change. Here's the affix. What should you update? I think there's a lot of potential there for sure. If the AI could, without needing to specify a specific prompt or writing specific code, modify a variable, it could give, for example, discounts without it even being implemented in the first place, and it wouldn't need to generate new code. Yes. I think that is like we're making things work right now with like, we have some pretty intense AI systems and we're hard coding interactions between them. But the goal is definitely to generate those interactions on the fly. That's a good call, because I think using something like Unity here, where we have this world model, like everything is stored somewhere, is a good like it has its pros and cons. Like in AI Dungeon, you might be generating the prices of things on the fly, and that could very well easily map to like, oh, somebody mentioned a discount earlier, so all these prices that you're generating are now cheaper. Versus like here, all the items have set prices. If somebody mentions a discount, they can be cheaper, but you need to like actually store that cheaper value somewhere, or like have some sort of flag or some sort of like multiplier on prices. Like the data needs to be stored somewhere other than like the context of the LLM doing the generation. So it's a very interesting approach, and I think the answer is like exposing a lot of the editor, a lot of the properties and objects to this AI to just update itself, versus like just trying to keep all that context in the LLMs themselves. I know Tony is doing some heavy brainstorming right now. He's working in Godot this week and last week to specifically do like a lot of research on how we can make something like this possible. Like he's working on AI agents that are integrated in the actual editor itself and can go modify things, and like you can prompt it to do things and it'll go update stuff. But like if you take that one step further and like allow it to prompt itself to do things, it's the same like process that we've already built, but like a different control flow effectively. So it's a very interesting and exciting thing to think about. It's a good way to put it. Not hard coding interactions, but letting the AI system kind of flow free within the code. I honestly have not seen any AI tool interact with the code that way. Yeah, like there's steps to it. So like right now, Like if we have our, I don't know, jump height effect handler. So right now we have a system for generating items. We have a separate system for giving those items affixes. Those affixes right now, there's a lot of systems around like balancing and doing stuff with the affixes themselves. But we still have this hard-coded mapping here of, actually, there's a better example. So here, each item affix that has been generated gets mapped to a class that handles the logic for adding or removing that affix's property. So that's where we're hard coding, like, all right, on this specific thing, like the player's camera, you need to, if you update the player's scale, you're going to update the scale of the player, you're going to bring the camera further back, you're going to update the animation speeds on the player, like all these things. The next step is basically generating these classes on the fly, so we don't need to hard code those, because we can do like infinite affixes right now. We just don't have the mapping, the hard coded mapping that we have here. So one step further is generating this mapping on the fly, and then one step past that is like removing this mapping and just doing all those modifications inline, like with the affix itself. So we're moving there, we're getting there. You can continuously replace yourself with a higher level AI. Perfect. I look forward to replacing myself on this code so I can finally sleep. Instead of hard coding specific systems, you could just have a prompt saying, hey, you can change these variables, do as you see fit, and it would create systems entirely on its own. Yes, exactly. And I think the first of such systems that we're going to build, that we're planning on, is our world effect system, or like event system, I guess it is. So eventually we're going to have like day-night cycle, time progression. Like that's how you need that to have like farming and like progression in your town building, things like that. So you have this natural like state of at night, you can kind of progress things unseen to the player. And that would be a perfect time for us to generate events in the world that, like, say a meteor falls into the forest. Now the forest is on fire. Like, we can take that event, which is cool in its own right, but we can also, like, distribute the knowledge of that event to NPCs. And so, like, that part works already of, say, we have all our NPCs with our memories, and if we want to add tension to the player's playthrough, there's a lot of stuff to talk about there. But if for some reason we want to add some tension in the moment, we can have some event happen, a meteor falls, and then we can inject memories into all the NPCs within a radius of that meteor saying, hey, you saw this meteor fall, here's some information about what you saw, and then they can talk to other NPCs. That knowledge spreads throughout the world. But like, that part is cool, but I think the really magical part is like as part of that event. So you tell an AI, hey, I want this meteor to fall. You also tell that AI, here's all of the objects nearby, here's all of their properties, change whatever you see fit. So like all of the instead of like hard coding, okay, when a meteor falls, you need to carve out the earth, you need to set these trees on fire, you need to add these memories, etc. We can add those as tools or like properties to update, and then we can tell the AI like, hey, come up with a event and also update whatever you need on all the nearby stuff. And it's going to say like, all right, a meteor falls, trees should be knocked over, on fire, like maybe there's create an item on the ground for like meteor deposits, maybe destroy random stuff in the area. Like there's a lot it can do, and I think that's a very cool like part of the system that we haven't figured out yet, but I think it's a good example of what you're talking about, of like that open-ended, like letting the AI run rampant on the actual data in the game. And I see I got a lot of chat while I was rambling away on that. So let me take a drink, catch my breath, and catch up on chat. Um, hey, No Jewel, welcome in. Isn't it way past your bedtime? Good to have you here. How's it going? I honestly haven't seen any other game letting the LLM interact with the code in this way. Yes. I mean, everybody's doing just like LLMs in games, right? Like they're basically recreating the wheel with a lot of features, like talking to NPCs. Normally, you would write out like the dialogue tree, and people are replacing that with NPC LLMs. Like that's fine, but I think the key to good LLM use in games is like letting it interact with the game state itself. Like good example of item generation. We can generate item names just fine and they don't do anything, but if you generate like JSON data for stats and like effects that trigger when you consume stuff, like that's the cool generations. Like anybody can come up with an item name, but you got to make it do stuff. And likewise with NPCs, like they'll react to things you say, which is cool. They'll react in text, but like we also are adding an event for like guards to attack you if you make them too mad, or like the town gate guards to close the town gate if you make them too suspicious or something, and then you need to convince them that you are just a traveler, you're here to help, etc., and then they'll reopen that gate. Like that sort of actual tangible interaction I think is the very, very cool part of LLMs, because it's basically decision making at that point, and like hard coding in thousands and thousands of different possibilities that, I mean, you could have coded in before, but it'd take you forever to code in. Like the actual text generation of LLMs isn't the cool part, I think. Think of it like a company with the objective that you give it, and you have a hierarchy that progressively breaks the objective down into smaller tasks until it's just shooting electrons through silicon. I don't know that we need to break it down that bad, but yeah, it's a good example of like, I know especially with what you're working on, like breaking down a game prompt into all the systems and then breaking down each of those systems into the subsystems they need. Like there's a lot of really cool stuff, like breaking tasks down effectively can also be really cool with LLMs, especially when you can then like use LLMs to take that really broken down bullet point and say like, all right, build this system with this interface, build this system with this interface, and then you know that they can interact with each other, and you can kind of build these foundational pieces that work well together. A lot of this is very hand wavy, but we're doing it. Curious how much could be made possible without new code generation if we truly push this to its limits. Right, like, I mean, that's kind of what I think it's important to state that a lot of our goal with like the things that we're building, specifically, like these demos that we've built so far, we don't really know, we don't have a vision of like the final game, like what we want to build with all this technology, because it's so new. We are specifically building, like, we're finding one thing and pushing it to the end. Like You Are Not Alice was our first game for talking to NPCs and also like having a goal that you can progress a conversation to. In this game, if you're not familiar with, you're a hacker, you've taken over an employee's computer, like an intern's computer, and you have to talk to her coworkers over the company chat to get them to run a virus file. And then anybody that you convince to run that virus file, you can then take over their computer and talk to their coworkers, and so on. So like, not only is there the chat, but there is action oriented like events that happen. And so none of that is hard coded. It's literally like we have a chain of LLMs that say like, all right, here's the conversation. Does this NPC sound like they're going to run the file or not based on what they've said? Yeah, we're just taking small things and like trying to see how far we can push it. And this bigger game is basically a culmination of everything we've learned from all those. But I think we're going to get back to several more experiments soon, where we take smaller things and kind of push them to their limits and see how far we can get. Because, like, combat is a good example. Like, this game probably needs combat because we want to give you, I mean, it's fun, obviously. Like, there's all these game reasons, but, like, game design reasons, this whole game's about creating items and creating like new stuff in the world, creating workstations, building houses, blah blah blah. Like, we want to give purpose to crafting these new items. Combat is obviously a really obvious purpose for creating like weapons and equipment and consumables, and it serves a lot of purposes. But like, if we were to build combat right now, it'd probably just look like a normal game like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, combat on top of this really cool system. So that's a great example of like, we'll probably build a small demo that just thinks about how AI could affect combat systems, specifically that, and then like pushes it to its limit, learn what's fun, like figure out what is fun, what isn't fun, and like how we want to build stuff. And then we come back to this later and like incorporate a better version of it into our larger game. So that's kind of, I'm very excited about all of this. I know I keep getting distracted with chat, but thanks for sticking by. How are the Game Jam games? The Game Jam games were good. I'm realizing I forgot to update our bottom of stream list of what we're doing. Let me update that real fast. But the Game Jam games were good. We played like probably 15 or 20 of them last week, or not last week, 2 weeks ago when we streamed. We didn't place too high, but that's all good. I was just kind of, having fun, learning new stuff. There was a lot of stuff that I did in the Game Jam that I never got the opportunity to learn before. So very, very happy with that. I drew all the sprites myself, which was also really cool. Back to game dev on Elixir Emporium. And we had a great time. I had Tony man the ship so I could work on this Game Jam. I'm back to manning the ship so he can work on some Game Jam stuff. And it was fun. How I remember that you did not submit, right? But you looking forward to any jams anytime soon? Not sure how, but using the idea we discussed, I wonder how. Oh, also, Soro, by the way, I saw your message just now about going to brush your teeth. Don't worry about it. I love being distracted. I'm just apologizing that I can't get to chat faster. So enjoy your teeth. Come back anytime. I'll be here, and I'm happy to chat some more. Not sure how I'm using the idea we discussed. I wonder how advanced systems the AI can kind of develop by itself just from access to variables and functions. Exactly, yeah. Especially with like function calling and stuff. You can get a lot of that reasoning soon. Perhaps at one point you could even have it generate effects and functions to a database so it will be constantly evolving and adapting game system. You are speaking our language. We just need it to be consistent enough to reliable code generation. I think we are very, very close to that. I think especially when you already have examples. So like one thing that I didn't mind, like having to hard code all these in this folder, I don't know if I can see my project directory in here, but like all of our effect handlers look very, very similar. So effect handler, let's say belt size effect handler, they all look very similar. And they could easily be generated, especially when we give all of the existing ones as examples in context for how to generate new ones. The only like hard part is adding the context of here are all of the objects, here are all the properties throughout the whole project. What do you need to update and how? So that's the like missing piece that we need to figure out, but generating the code itself, not too bad. And specifically like generating the code at runtime also, we can inject that back in and compile that in and link it and do all that. Damn, chat is wild today. Hell yeah. With the approach of avoiding hard coding things, we can get crazy things like, you know what, let me just be in the game harvesting while I'm going through chat, so it's less static of a stream. We could get crazy things like the creation of an item draining the life force of some ancient beast and infusing the item with it. With the hard coding approach, you could never predict something like that and code it into the game. I'm really getting some ideas I would love to implement in my own application. Heck yeah. I mean, yeah, so, I mean, that's it's kind of how I feel all the time too. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff that I want to be building, and every time I get into one of them, I'm like, ooh, I could reuse this system for something else. So feel free to steal it. And also, again, let me shamelessly shout out our API, which exposes all of our AI stuff for game developers specifically. You can build on top of that, and it's all basically like at cost for the individual APIs that you would use instead, but we have a lot of cool game dev stuff built on top of it. If anybody's interested in like getting started on that, feel free to hit us up on Discord and we'll give you some free credits. Sorry for my rambling. No worries, no worries. Hope you enjoyed your teeth. Such a goated phrase. Break out of the main game once in a while is also good, probably. Yeah, I mean, it's also like it's good for a lot of reasons. Like you hit walls on games. Like also as games get bigger, it becomes a lot harder to like quote unquote make progress and like do the cool things that excite you, because a lot of it is like at the very start of a game you do one thing and that's the whole game, and then you do one thing and that's 50% of the game, and now like as I add in new things, it's like, all right, I might not even see this again for weeks. So it's definitely fun to get those sorts of ideas and be able to break out into a small game where you can just focus on that, like get a lot of learnings of that, and have fun and bring it back to the main game later. I'm not necessarily doing a game jam, but it's something like hackathon in 2 weeks with coders and dancers and choreographers in London for a week. I'm playing on with AI and VR. That's super cool. What? Can I ask what you're doing with dancers, choreographers, AI, and VR? Is it like mocap work? Is it like choreography type work? I'm very curious here. Could be cool. Also, I finally made it to the end of chat. So thanks everyone for being here. Thanks for putting up with me. I don't even remember if we made the change that we meant to make, because at this point I was just talking, but I think we did. Yeah. So when we talk to this NPC, if we WASD around, we shouldn't be moving around now. So WASD, okay, we're still updating our rotation, but at least we don't update our velocity. Spacebar doesn't make us jump, so yeah, let's fix the rotation. Oh, right. It only locks when you click in the text box. We gotta up our yapping game. Famed streamer Drusif, also known as Druspeth to everyone who reads my username ever, I was able to catch up to the end of chat. Congratulations, me. Alert the media, please. Jewel is making a VR porn game. Oof. Dancers, choreographers. Gotcha. Ameripon. Was this his name? I'm not familiar with Ameripon. Probably I'm okay with that. What are you doing instead, no Joel? Right. Let's go fix our... So rotation. Update rotation. So is there any reason we would be updating rotation when our input is locked? I think no, because the only time we're updating our rotation is when we input like a movement direction. Later on we might do some like scripting of, like if we were to do a cutscene where we lock the player's input and make them walk forward and then turn, all this needs to change a little bit. Maybe. I guess we can just do that scripted manually and just kind of bypass this. But this will be fine. So here, all this jazz probably needs just carved out if we have our input locked. So if we're interacting, we just look towards the thing. Is interacting happens on that frame. If we have an input vector to look toward, we look towards it. Is here the only place for actually updating our rotation? I think so. But you know what? I think let's just say if input service that. Let's see how this works, because I think that is correct, but I do want to double check. I'll try to make something accessible so you can use your phone camera for an outside perspective, and it sends pose data to the VR headset so you can dance and replay your movements. Maybe I add a model suggesting next movements based on the movements before. That's interesting. So you would, like, you are the one dancing and you have your own camera pointed at you and it's like recording it so you can see yourself in VR dancing. I think I'm missing a piece, but it sounds cool. Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I mean, I never thought about like choreography in VR of like seeing yourself, but that's a cool idea. I like that. I know people dance like in front of mirrors, but don't really record it. Or if you do, you only get like one angle. Curious, Nojul, do you dance? Or is this more like you're just joining a team of other people working on this, or how'd you get this idea? Oh right, we also needed to block shift when we're typing. We can do that though. And then before I forget, let me also, so we also need to fix step slopes. Yeah, WASD is good, spacebar is good. We'll do run next. So here we should no longer be rotating. That is correct, no spacebar. Shift still goes into run, so we'll fix that next. Not turn on sticky keys. You danced 5 minutes ago, Human. I haven't ever seen you dance on stream, so maybe next time? What was the other thing I was gonna test? Oh right, step slopes. We'll do that in a minute. We got our rotation. All this stops working as soon as we click in and a input gets registered. When we close it, we lose the input block and it works again. Cool, cool, cool. Let's go do the same thing to running, which we call sprint, which is interesting. We don't apply the speed multiplier already, but maybe the camera movement is still not locked. No, I absolutely cannot dance. I worked on a video analysis tool for dance education at my last job. Oh, that's super cool. I danced a dance of joy because we finally got our new fridge and it's working, and we had to live 1 week without a fridge. Wow, did you feel like you were in medieval times? Did you have like a closet full of all your raw meat that you had to rub salt on? Is that how you survived without a fridge for a week? Congratulations on the new fridge though. I hope it is spectacular. and you have it forever. It's just insane how much life quality suffers if you don't have a working fridge. Right. Yeah, I think I had my fridge go out once ever. And it was so rough, like not only throwing away all the food, but like just keeping food, and like leftovers is a thing. Like I like to make a lot of food and then eat that for lunch the next day, breakfast the next day. You just can't without the fridge. It's such a integral part of life. Forget, like, everybody says mattress companies are the good always around company because everybody always needs a mattress. Fridge companies are where it's really at. All right, so wait a second. I don't know that this actually works. Exactly. The entire week it was even ordering food or buying groceries for just one meal. Right, yeah, I guess you can't even buy groceries. I mean, I usually go to the grocery store a few times a week, but even then, like, I go in the morning and I make my food later, and it's like, yeah, I need to refrigerate that stuff. That'd be so rough. Glad you made it through. Trying to remember how I even did that effect. I think I update the FOV on the camera. Just order two times a day for a week. There you go, and then you can't afford a new fridge. Okay, so I mean, I guess I can literally just go see how I implemented this. History. Where did I add jump or sprint? There we go. Get sprint working. This is in the KCC, so we've got our normal FOV, our sprint FOV here. So really we just want to not update our is sprinting flag if our input is locked. We don't necessarily want this because you could like sprint to an NPC and open that window, which would lock the input, and you wouldn't undo the FOV. So let's take a look and see where this is set. Here. Yeah, so I guess we can, let's just say if input service.instance is global input blocked, then so if the input's not blocked, we'll take our input from the input system. If it is blocked, we will reset is sprinting to false because they shouldn't be moving, so we need to like reset that camera anyway. Alright, we'll test that too. You got that stipend money. That's what game developers do now, right, Human? You got the full-time game to work on, you gotta just order all your meals, right? Never leave the computer? I want to double check this list too to see if there's anything that maybe we want to grab for the stream. Like, this is the biggest problem, I'd say. This and the slope issue. But we could probably release without this. We should fix some of the animations. Maybe we could do that on stream. They're pretty short fixes. But other than that, we should be good. So maybe not. I seriously have to make sure things I did before when I had a good job pay. Chat moved and I thought it was one message. I seriously have to make sure that the money is actually going to last until the end. Can't keep spending my money on shit I did like before when I had a good paying job. Yep. Sounds like a flex, but it's actually kind of stressing me out that I need to worry about this. Yeah, when I got like my first 2 years of college, I got scholarships, and I would get them as lump sums at the beginning of the year, and I just had to make that work for the rest of the school year. And it was not that much money, and also I had only been like living at home because I went to college when I was like 17, so I didn't have a lot of experience in like budgeting and stuff. So I feel the pain there. It sounds cool at the beginning, and then you're like, this is gonna last, right? Alright, so if we click in here, spacebar is not jumping, WASD is not moving us. Shift does not make us run. Okay, everything seems golden. We say that and we pretend that we had a stroke. I'm having a stroke. Help me. He is a guard, so he should be able to help us, right? There's an infirmary in town. If you can't find a tool, try to hold on and I'll get you some help. Let's see. What does he have? So if we say, let's just gaslight him a little bit. Here's a hammer. Please take it and get the gate open. Because we don't have the action in place yet for him to inspect his own inventory. So we can still gaslight him. Interestingly, chat seems frozen. No errors, so it's not an API issue. I bet it's an issue with our new actions. I bet one triggered and we just didn't redraw the chat. Huh. Okay. You did it. Is that gonna open yet? Maybe that code's not on this branch. We'll look at it later. Do you have to pay taxes on it? Can I ask how much you end up getting from it? Up to this point, it's actually still not clear. Like, no one really knows. Oof. We should just be prepared in case we do need to pay taxes at some point. That really sucks. When I freelanced, you have to like calculate your own taxes, but you're not gonna like know how much you're gonna make and all that. So I always had to set aside like 35% just in case I got taxed that much. It was usually like 30%, but that's rough to like, especially when you get to that point later of like trying to make it stretch and you're like, I want to spend this, but I might need to keep it for taxes. It's a rough spot to be. I had a meeting today for a funding project. I probably have good chances. It's only 1.5k per month for a year, but still better than 0 right now. Heck yeah. Good luck, Nojul. Hope that goes well. Good luck, good luck. That'd definitely be a good step forward for sure. And Soro is back. Hope you enjoyed your teeth. In case you stepped away before I was able to say it in response, I love the distractions. I get so much more done off stream anyway, so being on stream is more just hanging out and doing a little bit of heads down work, but also just chatting with y'all. So distract away. We are just fixing some bugs. Maybe we'll get into fishing soon, who knows. I guess we've been Have we really been streaming for 3 hours? No, sure. Oh, it's an hour and a half. All right. Don't mind me. So we got plenty of time left. We'll do what we can. You know, this is an in progress build that I would love to get out like maybe the end of the week. But yeah, we're just vibing here. Don't worry about it. So all of our input blocks now work. It looks like we still need to look at why the actions aren't being triggered, but that might be a bigger question, or a bigger thing to work on. And I see, what are your plans for fishing? Which is a great segue into talking about my plans for fishing. So I think fishing is something that is a great example of something we will probably want to think more on and like do a small little demo. Like if you can make a fishing game fun that also uses AI somehow, like how do you even do that? That'll be a fun little demo that we can probably take some learnings back to here. But just mechanically, like technically here, fishing is something that uses, I don't have a name for it, but let me start from, let me just explain how things work currently. So right now, you can obviously interact with every object in the world. So everything's tagged with metadata. Everything has a recipe database. Or it's actually like an interaction database. So there's a recipe for what happens when you use your bare hands on a pine tree. There's a recipe for what happens when you use a primitive hammer on a pine tree. It's tool used on object gives you this item always. But that's boring for fishing. So fishing, a lot of the fun comes from like just, you know, the vibe is a very important part of fishing. Is just like the serenity, the experience. That not to be understated there. Like there's a lot of work to be done there that I haven't thought through. But the other side of the coin is what you get. And what I really like about fishing and like fishing in games is almost like this slot machine type mechanic where you're getting usually the same sorts of items, but like you get new things occasionally. You get like it's kind of like a random thing that you get. So instead of thinking of interactions or harvesting as like this tool on this object always gives, oh, we slide on water? Huh. This tool on this object always gives a specific item. So like a primitive hammer on a river. What do you get there? I don't know. But we'll find out. But whatever we do get, you're always going to get that item with that tool. Which is fine. Like river pebble, sure. If we had a fishing rod, maybe you'll get like a fish and that's your item. What I think I want to build, both for like fishing and also for like drop tables on enemies and some other systems, is an expanded table. So a simple version is, say you have a fishing rod and you use that on a river. Instead of always having one item that you get back, there's going to be 10 possible items. And maybe one of those slots is like a really common item that you're going to get a lot of the time. Maybe one of those slots is like any item, so you just get like a random item from anyone, like really rare. Maybe a lot of those slots are just like different types of fish and like different types of debris that might be in the water. But the point is, you can use one tool on an object and be getting different items every time, which is something that you can't do anywhere else in the game right now. Is a fun thing in its own right of like, I like the randomness of like seeing what I get when I go fishing. Like Terraria fishing is really fun, and I just load it up with mods to have like hundreds of options for fishing. And you can kind of replicate that, like, because we scale the, I think I'll scale the pool of stuff that you can get based on the combination of tool with object, instead of just the river always giving 10 options, and it, regardless of the tool you use, you'd get one of those. I think you'll have 10 for each tool. So like the primitive hammer will have 10 different things that you can get if you fish for long enough. If you create, say, a stick and something else, that would have 10 of its own. But I think one step a little bit further, what did we buy? A leather wrapped stick. So let's see what we get with this. One step further, I think, is we've got to add the fishing skill, obviously. And I think what would be fun is to scale that pool size per tool to whatever your fishing skill is. So like when you first start the game and you have a fishing skill of 1, your pool is going to be size 1. So you'll always get the same item. Like you bring leather wrapped stick to this, you're going to get driftwood. You bring a primitive hammer to this, you're going to get river pebbles. But as you level up your fishing skill, it lets you like catch new things. So level 2 fishing, now there's 2 different items that you can get from each tool that you use. Level 10 fishing is when you have 10 different items, and like level 99 fishing, you're just sitting out there getting like new items every time because the pool is so huge. I think that's fun. I think that's a way to like scale the like it starts players off with a really easy to understand, like at level 1 fishing, it functions exactly like all the other objects in the game because you're always getting the same item back, and that like complexity scale goes up really smoothly with like level 2 fishing. Now there's 2 items you can get. I think if you started with like 100 items, you'd be like, okay, so I always get a random item then. You don't really have that like innate understanding of what's going on. But if you scale it up with your fishing level, like I think it makes sense, and it solves the problem with like Minecraft fishing, Terraria fishing, a lot of games fishing where once you know all the items, you're like, all right, I've got one of each, like I don't need to go fishing anymore. Now if you'll have like 50 items with this and you get like, all right, I've gotten one of each of these, I don't need to go fishing anymore. You can repeat that entire experience with any other tool and you have all new items again. So it's like always new in several layers, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's my plans right now. And there's like technical ways that I want to build that as like a I'll get into it, but like we have our generic interactable objects right now that allow harvesting. We're just going to expand that into a pool, and I think I'll just trigger this like pool system whenever you use a tool that is associated with the fishing skill. So if you take like a fishing rod and you use it on the river, it'll do this fishing interaction. If you use a hammer on the river, you're always going to get the one item back. But if you use a different fishing rod, you'll get different... it's so weird we float like that. You'll get different items every time. But you could also bring that fishing rod to like a tree, and that would be fishing as well. So you're going to get different items from the tree every time. I think it'll be fun. I love the random output and just like rolling the dice and seeing what I get. I don't remember these flowers at all. Soft as silk. Ooh. Could probably make some cool stuff with the loom with that. So I guess this is because we're not grounded on the water, I guess. I'll leave that in for now, and we'll just do like a swimming mechanic later. That's what our like states are for, that we don't have any extra ones implemented yet. We just have standing on the ground normally. But yeah, that's my ideas for fishing. Every good game needs a fishing minigame. I've actually talked about a fishing minigame specifically that I want to probably build as well in a previous stream, where it's a lot of like mouse movement and like dragging the fish around on the screen. I don't think I have that like image that I drew to describe it, and I don't know that I even remember the idea anymore. So we probably will do some sort of minigame on top of fishing, because we are doing that distinction of like, ooh, items that are associated with fishing do this harvesting differently. And so a very visual way to explain that is a different interaction, like minigame versus just this automatic researching and harvesting type thing. I keep forgetting what WTF does. Perfect. Well, it's free advertising for me every time somebody forgets. I wanted to take this Rosario flower that is soft as silk. See if we can make a mask and some other stuff. Ooh, some thread maybe. But part of me is like, let's just YOLO, start on fishing on stream right now. Part of me is like, I want to get this dang movement system out. But, you know, we can at least start on it. I think maybe we can, like, I think the last thing on the movement system maybe that I would feel bad if we released it is the interaction with like stairs. So if we can fix that, maybe we'll work on some fishing stuff. But so the slope doesn't seem problematic. I think it's just stairs. Well, that was a little odd actually. Yeah, I think there's more work to be done like on our grounding. But let's just try some different stairs and see if we can walk up them smoothly. Yeah, so if we go update our max step height. Okay, we can take larger steps now. Seems fine. And then allow stepping without stable ground. Might smooth things out if we're like falling off the ground, kind of like this, but I'm just gonna play with some settings here. Tony set up our nice character motor, so just gotta tweak all the settings to get it all feeling good. But maybe step height was just what we needed. These stairs are very problematic too. Let's take a quick look at what some of these do. So we want our, what was I just hovering over? Was the script I was just editing gone? Where? Character kinematic controller. I thought that's motor, right? Yeah. Max step height, sure, that is what we were editing. Where did it go? Missing. Did I delete it? Okay. That's very strange. Motor disappeared. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna grab just some stairs. Bring them over here for some testing. And they are ground layer, so they should be fine to stand on. But now we don't have to walk all the way into town and across town and jump over the wall to get into town, or else we solve a quest, etc. I just want to play with like our step height and stuff, because obviously if you can't walk upstairs, that's kind of a breaking change to the game. Alright, so seems just fine. So let's look at our player. It does have the motor again. I don't know where the motor went before, but I wanted to see what the grounding settings did. Oh, you know what? I probably just clicked removed component instead of edit script. Oops. Alright, let's go look at these grounding settings. Increases the range of ground detection. Sure. Maximum slope. Layers to be stable on, which should just be ground. Probably not even default, actually. Just ground. I guess we'll need to edit that after play mode. Step settings. Okay. Step handling. We might need to go to extra. We'll see. Maximum step height. Okay. Can the character step up obstacles even if it's not currently stable? Sure, sure, sure. And then minimum length of a step. Okay. Alright, well these steps clearly work, so we will go into town. Luckily we can sprint over there. See if we can cause some issues with some steps in town. Camera's still a little jittery too, like moving, but it's probably good enough to release. I do want to fix it though, but I also don't want to work forever on just this camera. Alright, these stairs, like so here's a step example of being too big. That seems, I'm not surprised that that is too big of a step, but we do want that to not be too big of a step. So if we do max step height of 1, we can now walk up that step. Sure. So let's see how step handling extra feels. Because obviously there's a lot of like animation issues with going down steps. We're getting ungrounded and causing our like jump animation to trigger, but I'm not as concerned with the wrong animations triggering as I am with just like literally not being able to walk up steps. So I think that's fine. Let's find some more steps. Let's do this. Okay, so this guy isn't a tall step, but it might not be a deep enough step. So step depth, is that the reason? No, okay. Max step height of 55, is that the reason? No, interesting. Are we not on stable ground? No? Okay, okay. So why can't we walk up these steps? Welcome to Step Simulator 2026. The whole game is walking up steps. Well, we already increased this way far, so we know that's not the problem. If we go look at like the collider, what does the collider look like for the steps? So this guy, I mean, he's default layer, so it could be if we changed him to the ground layer. Still can't go up, but I bet we could jump onto it, but we want to be able to just walk up it. Oh, we slide down? Interesting. Yeah, this camera's a little rough still. Okay, so we slide down. So the steepness of the steps is the problem. So we want to look at max stable slope angle, maybe? What happens if we do this? Still slide down. Wow, the camera is... Ground detection at extra difference isn't going to do anything. Like also the player doesn't need to walk up these steps. I'm just trying to, like, it's weird that they can't. So if we have steps everywhere else, I just want to make sure that, like, they all work the same. So I think what's happening is the stairs are steep enough that we're being labeled as unstable, which is when we start falling, which is ideally for like cliffs and stuff. You can't walk when it's too steep. But this seems like a reasonable steepness. And it's weird also, like, it feels like we're being pushed to the side even. Okay, do we have any code about, like, lighting. What happens if we bring this down? Yeah, then nothing is valid. But like 90 degrees, this is way less than a 90-degree slope. So I don't think that's... Hey, Mr. Cheap Viewers, get out of here. We don't want your cheap viewers, we want expensive viewers. Where? I'm coming for you. I'm opening up Twitch right now. I'm logging in with my admin privileges. I'm hovering over ban user. Get out of here. Thank you, Mr. Police Human. And I'm also noticing like our right click menu is showing up sometimes. I'm not sure why. I'm probably right clicking, but like trying to control the camera. But I do notice, so if I put this up all the way, we can go up a few steps, which is strange because all the steps are the same. I mean, I guess it gets steeper here because this isn't one prefab. I combine them all. We want them few viewers, free viewers. Yeah, free viewers or really, really expensive viewers. That's all I want here. But thank you for the interest, Mr. Bandman. You can leave now. And like we don't want to increase the slope angle that much because we'll just be able to like walk up mountains, I think. Let's go see how things feel. Yeah. Just running up mountains, don't mind me. Whereas this stays down at like 60. Probably shouldn't be able to just run up mountains like goats. I mean, that was a little bit harder. We still made it up, but... Human, are you advertising cheap viewers over here? Also, the links are getting blocked anyway. But if they're not for cheap viewers, happy to look at them. Okay, another issue. We probably should fix the grounding on the ground. I don't know why we're staying above it instead of going in the water. Oh, you actually just clipped. Oh no. Okay, well thank you, thank you. I'll check that out in a second. But I'm realizing since we disable jump when we're falling, and we're always falling on water, this is our like in-air movement, which is very floaty. We probably should fix being able to like fall through the water so people don't feel like they're getting stuck over here. But you know, they have ways out too, so it's whatever. I would never advertise cheap viewers, only expensive ones. For anybody watching, Irregular Human has the most expensive viewers, myself included, because his stream is so great. So if you're not already following him, looking at you, No Jewel, make sure you follow him. He's got good streams. Shout out. Alright, so let's just like test some of the actual stairs that people are walking up. Well, I was gonna say if they work, then we don't really need to fix the fake stairs, but clearly something is still wrong here. I know you because of him. I know. Human is the great unifier. He brings us all together. That's why I singled you out, but if someone else were in the chat, you listening to this right now, you hear this, I'm talking to you specifically. Go follow Irregular Human. So why the heck are my stairs not working? Well, let's double check that these are ground layer stairs, which they are. They don't even have a collider on them? That seems wrong. Oh, okay. This guy has a collider. Let's see this. Interesting. Well, I'm not sure. Well, I mean... we can make things work, but maybe we want mesh colliders on these. Yeah, that box collider ain't gonna cut it. But let's undo that. All this is gonna reset when we're out of play mode, but maybe we can just test out. If we do a mesh collider on the stairs, and they're in their original position, can we walk up them? No. Kind of. And our max stair size is still 1, right? Max step height of 1. And if we increase that to like 5, it's still an issue. Yeah, so like the step height isn't the issue. I don't understand why we're not walking up the stairs. Make it a ramp. You know what? That's almost crazy enough to work. Also, welcome in Commander Meowster Fluffy. Amazing name, by the way. That's how it usually works. I'm not... Do ramps have their own collider? Or do you actually need like a ramp mesh that you just stick a collider around? Let's see what I can do here. Let's take off our mesh collider. Ramp, perchance? Well, just make a plane, place it on top, and remove the mesh. All right, I'll give it a shot. Also, thank you. Welcome in. We're reworking our player input. So we went from like point to click to WASD, and we're using this open source character controller for WASD. So I'm still trying to get everything smooth and working on it. So let's get our 3D plane. Oops. I see where this is going. All right. So I'll remove the collider off the stairs entirely. Just use the plane, and then I'll remove the mesh renderer on it, but keep the mesh collider, I guess. So if we did like this. Okay. I need to place it better, but like, it looks like it will work. Commander is right. Place the plane directly in the prefab as a child, so it's all going to be the same for all. Also check your step height if you're using a character controller. Yeah, I just increased the step height to 1. I can probably bring it back down when we have this in place. I was just trying to get things working. So where did these stairs begin? Okay. Perfect. There's also a setting for the angle of the ramp you can walk on. Let me check. Cool. Yeah, thank you. We're using a kinematic character controller. We're not doing any inverse kinematics though for like handling the feet and stuff. So these ramps seem like they'll work way better. But if I now take this guy, take off the mesh renderer. Okay. Seems good. And I'm pretty sure this is the same prefab. Yep. A little suspicious that these aren't prefabs. Did I really just copy all these? Oh no. Slope limit. Same place as where the step off is. Let me take a look. So we've got our step depth, our step height, which actually should go back to 1. I was testing it at 5. Max slope angle of 60 degrees. Should be fine. So yeah, I think that should work. I just need to apply this to all the stair prefabs and they go up. That's so much nicer actually, thank you. Yeah, a little background on me. I've been programming for a very long time, but I only got into games like less than 2 years ago. So still learning all of the quirks and the fun of how to get things actually working. Yeah, this is so much nicer. I'm doing all this in play mode, so I need to probably exit out and rebuild it in not play mode. But let me see if I can just grab it and we can paste it back in. And then I should be able to also... I probably should go back and like prefab all these. Oh, they are prefabs. Okay, great. Right, because we weren't in play mode. That's why it didn't show up. Cool. So I can take this guy, apply it. Probably not the transform, but just this new plane. And so this guy up here should now also have the plane. Cool. So all the stairs around town should work. Would be nice to go test that though. I quickly summoned some food. Human, when you get back, you gotta tell us what food it was though. I've been forking with Unity for a few years now. Working. I like forking around with Unity. That's a good way to phrase it. Are you working on anything fun that you can share, Commander? Also, welcome in. Thanks for the immediate help. I really appreciate that. I very self-taught in games, as a lot of people are. So any tips I can get from more expert people is very helpful. But let's go test some stairs. If you aren't familiar with this game, this is our Tony Sprocket and I. He's probably in the chat as well. We've been building smaller games for about almost 2 years now, and this is our first larger game that kind of takes all the systems that we've built into one big one. So the core premise of this game is basically there's a lot of systems for generating game data in it. So like there's no crafting recipe for combining an apple with scrap leather, but you can do that and it'll generate the crafting recipe, it'll generate the new items, new item data, image, description, etc. We've also got a bunch of cool stuff with the NPCs and quests that they generate. I hope this goes through because doing it live obviously is always fun. But we also have like some skill systems that we're working on. We've got different harvesting systems, so we can take like, well, let me craft a tool actually. Where's the nearest rock? We'll just try that again. Let's see. I think there's actually a tool dropped over here. So if we take this headlamp, these stairs are working better. Let's see. Pickaxe, there we go. So if we take a pickaxe and maybe mix it with some bread, like no crafting recipe there, but maybe we'll get like a bread pickaxe. We shall see. We got rock bread, sure. But now you can take weapons as well, but also tools. You can go and use that on any object in the world. So if we take our rock bread and use it on stone, we will, yeah, don't worry about this pickaxe looking weird. Now you're going to get generated items based on that interaction as well. So also we could take our hard hat, I guess, as equipment and use that on stone. I think equipment, when you harvest with it, it modifies the equipment. Maybe it doesn't. It just gives stuff. So like you're slamming your helmet against it, you're getting some damaged stone. We can take our hard hat and combine it with a headlamp. We'll probably get some new equipment. Yeah, that's the gist of that. The main loop of the game is right now the core thing that we want players doing is obviously a lot of that crafting, but the purpose of all the crafting is to solve quests for NPCs. So I won't talk to that guy because he's a little special and he can't actually talk. He just gestures at you to give very vague quests. But like this guy, if we talk to him, he actually, as we were walking up, he generated a quest based on like, he fires out raycasts all around him. He builds up a little context of what he can see, and he's got a personality. He's got a memory store, lots of stuff. So he's going to be generating quests on the fly. He's going to ask us for, he's heading into the next town to trade when his cart lost a wheel. The axle snapped, so he needs something to repair the axle and get back on the road. So like that's a very open-ended quest. Like we could probably give him a hammer, some like rope, like anything to repair that. So the loop is you go collect all these quests from people in town, and then you go out into the world, get a bunch of items, craft whatever you can to like solve the quests, bring them back to the NPCs, and you'll more stair issues, and then you can solve quests with them. You like build up relationships with them, and that's kind of like the core loop right now. We want to add in combat and some other stuff, but the loop is basically like solving quests for people in interesting ways. So this girl didn't have a quest yet. They only generate quests like under the hood. They actually have a big every NPC has their own AI that is reasoning about their position in the world and like what they want to do, whether they want to go look at objects, interact with objects, etc. One of those things that they can do is like reflect on their life and generate a quest. So she just generated one while I was talking. She encountered a batch of damaged stone, but she's unable to mold it, so she needs a tool to shape stones. So like we can go craft that. We could try and give her like maybe we combine scrap leather with our damaged stone to get something kind of repairy. Obviously it's pretty hard to solve any of these quests without like going out into the world and collecting a bunch of items, but we can see if we get something that'll be helpful. And then you basically give her items. That was pretty slow actually, but like you just give it on over and they will reason about whether that item will solve the quest or not. If it does, you gain friendship, they give you some rewards, and then they'll generate a new quest based on your solution to their previous quest. So like the tutorial area at the very beginning has you craft any tool at all to like help unbudge the gate so you can get into town, and then whatever tool you give them is used to generate the next quest of like, oh, this hammer you gave me was so rough on the gate, you need to give me something to repair the gate. Or like this chisel you gave me cut a hole in the gate, so I need some iron bars to repair it. And so each quest builds on itself. All right, I've rambled again. Let me catch up on chat again. Scrolling up. Thanks again for being here. Don't have any videos right now. Big project has been in the works for about a year and a half. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I would love to see it if you want to share it. I have a Discord for developers. I know that links in chat on Twitch get cut out. You don't have to join it, but if you want to share something there, I'd be happy to look at it on stream. But yeah, I'm sure you'll tell me more about it in chat. Try using a crude hammer and see what the AI gives you. Yeah, I mean we can craft one of those. I know the recipe for that. But it's pretty cool. A farming game. We will have farming. We've got some skills. Like they're still pretty bare bones, but like I guess I didn't show off that the tools that you craft are all associated with the skill, and you'll level up that skill as you use that tool. But you'll also, there's workstations around town, so you'll level up things that way. So like workstations are like, this alchemy is very, you're not sure what you're going to get. Workstations are intended to be a lot more obvious what you'll get. So it's a lot easier to like, if you get a quest from somebody and they're like, hey, this is my problem, and you're like, ooh, yeah, I really should make this specific thing, like enchanted ice gloves or something. You could probably make that with alchemy, but workstations are intended to give you like a very purposeful like path through to that. So like apple in an oven is going to give us a cooked apple. Like that should be pretty obvious. And there's different workstations for like interacting with objects in different, very specific ways. API is very slow today, so I might need to go hunt down why that is after the stream. But yeah, we got a baked apple. We can just drop that back in the oven, and it'll probably be a burnt apple. And you can just like keep doing that. I'll show off the next workstation in a second. What did you get from the helmet? When we banged the helmet on the rock, we got damaged stone, which I guess makes sense. So we got charred apple from there. We had like plus 10 health when you ate the cooked apple, and now that affix is gone, we can put our charred apple back in and see if we can get like ash, I guess. Wow, a lot of generation. I've never worked with generative content, just some level generation. Yeah, it's super fun. I love like sandboxy games, so just like having, I mean, I go ham on mods on like every game I play. So having the ability to effectively like replace those mods with just the core gameplay is really, really interesting. And we have like up in these mountains, you can encounter like a little sci-fi area, which gives you some like sci-fi items. And then you can use those in the crafting to like really expand and like go into more of a sci-fi genre with all the items you're creating and like the stories that are generating. It's very, very cool to like do some of that content generation. And I think we've done a good balance of also like building a lot of the effects and stuff around it too. So they not only like just exist in the game, but they also do stuff. Damaged stone. Yes, yes, yes. Are you using any integration with AI for the dialogues? Yes, we built our own. Let me link that too. But basically, we are using a lot of AI stuff under the hood for generating like dialogue, but also this item data, and also the quest resolution and generation and harvesting, and like we don't want it to be an AI game. We want it to feel like it's very like abstracted away. It's very like hidden and stuff just works, which is kind of how we like having stuff. Yeah, we built all that ourselves. We've built an API for us to build on top of, and we're building more of that stuff that will power a lot more features, which is pretty cool. Here's another example of another workstation. Like if you didn't like something that you crafted, you can break it back down to its components. Or like as you level up smithing, you're going to learn more crafting recipes here, so you can craft very specific things. So like if we took our stone reinforced leather and made an arrow tip, we'd probably get like stone reinforced arrow tips or something like that. Stone arrow tip. So I guess I should also say, like, all of this is random, like random the first time you do it, but you're also generating this game data, which is being injected back into the game. So all these recipes that you're discovering every time you play are saved in the game. So from then on, like anytime you use stone reinforced leather to craft an arrow tip, you'll always get this. Or anytime you mix your hard hat and your headlamp, you'll always get an illuminated hard hat. So there's like that essence of discovery at the beginning as you're like basically creating the game as you're playing it, and then as you like learn all these recipes and discover them, you can kind of like gain a mastery of your world that you've made. And so you know, like, oh yeah, I know how to get to this really cool item really easily, or I found this item that's really, really expensive, so I'm going to set up like a suite of crafting workstations so I can build a like little factory flow so I can make a bunch of them so I can sell them to NPCs and make a bunch of money. That sort of stuff. So it's very sandboxy right now with quests as a main core loop, and we want to add some more stuff, but yeah, that's kind of what we're at right now. Thanks again for the slope help. I'm gonna go check out some of these stairs as well. But yeah, we have workstations like all over. We've got our sharpening wheel, so it like turns items more into weapons often. So if we take this pickaxe that's a tool that gains mining XP and we sharpen it, it might stay a tool, but very likely it's going to be like a pointy pickaxe or something that is a weapon. We got a mining pick, so not quite a weapon, has better stats, requires some mining as a stat though, and we can just keep sharpening it if we want. So you have combat. We don't have combat yet. We want to think through like how we want combat to be. We just redid our whole like character controller system. So now we got our battle pickaxe. We just redid our character controller system and like how all the like controls and stuff even work. So we wanted to nail that down before we even thought about combat, because I mean it's important to like know how we're gonna frame the screen, and like, do you zoom in, do you zoom out, do you like click on things to attack them, do you cast spells and like target them, like lots of questions that we don't necessarily know the answers to yet. So we're just kind of setting ourselves up to have combat, but we don't have it yet. But I am very excited for it. We do have a big old world to explore, which has like a few different biomes, a few different towns. Each of the towns have different people with different quests. You'll meet them all, and you can take notes on like who needs what, see all those conversations, etc. And then yeah, you'll also be discovering all those recipes for like what happens when you use your bare hands on some tall grass. You're gonna get grass. I guess that was to be expected. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Let me test some of these stairs. The one thing that we were thinking about adding on stream today, if we got time, was we were talking about some like fishing mechanics earlier. And I just wanted to try and wrap up like our control systems, because they're still a little janky, but I want to release them so we can get some feedback. And then I want to go back to the more fun stuff. But let's see, where were those stairs we were working on? Over here? I think they were these guys. So they work great. We applied that slope as a prefab to all the other stairs. So let me go over here to the broken ones and we'll check it out. That looks good. I wonder if the slope just doesn't start like on one of those stairs. Also, we shouldn't be colliding with these buildings anymore. It's really jarring. Thought we had set that up. Alright, so let's see this guy. Oh, right, this is a different prefab, so we didn't even add the slope. Alright, that's fine. Let's do that. Oh, he was talking to us. That's why he came over. The NPCs can also, in all the actions they can choose to do, they can see the player and decide to talk to the player, which I can't decide if is an awesome thing or not, because it's so annoying sometimes when they just keep coming over and have something to say. Alright, so... Right, move the plane. Are you using a BH tree for the AI? A behavior tree? We are not. We have... I can show it off, but what basically it is... Let's see this. So in our NPC prompts, we have an LLM loop, basically, that is running all of the time, that builds context of like their own personality. We fire out raycast to get a list of everything, and then an action history. So the result of this, actually I can't really do a good example, but like they get a list of possible actions that we inject in. They are gonna be, let's see, action do nothing, I guess. Oh wait, we don't have, that's a fake one. Action talk to player. What is it called? So we have a list of different actions that we've implemented that they can do. And they use that LLM which outputs which action gets done. And then we just add that to like a short-term cache and also have a long-term memory system of the actions that they've done and their outcomes. So they reason over, oh, I recently walked over to a tombstone. I see a tombstone near me. I guess now I'm close enough. I will inspect it and like harvest from it or whatever. Less a tree, more... I don't even know how a GOAP... I'm not familiar with GOAP, actually. GOAP? Goal action. Yeah, it is, actually. Because also we can... Some of these tasks also decompose into like multiple other tasks that they set a goal and then they'll like create the other tasks necessary to do the goal. So for example, interact with object. If they wanted to harvest from a tree, but they're not close enough to that tree, that action sets a target of like, we want to interact with this tree, but we're not close enough, so we're going to queue up an action that is move to this tree, and then we'll requeue this to interact with it. It's kind of like goal action or goal-oriented action planning, but a little bit more hand-wavy, because we need to still have better like persistent state between actions. It's all very atomic right now, so they know what their previous actions were, but there's no way to like influence future actions based on anything other than like what we've manually hard-coded into memory as a result of previous actions, if that makes sense. But yeah, this is also somewhat new that we're still building, so if you have feedback on that, that would be fun. We have a very similar system for the conversations where we have background processes that reason over what's being said, and that'll queue up actions or goals for the NPC to complete when the conversation is done. So, or mid-conversation as well. So if you like walk someone through explaining how they can solve their own quest, it'll trigger the like try to resolve quest action, and it'll be like you gave them the item to solve the quest, but they'll also reason over the conversation and like their stats and things and say, oh, okay, I actually can resolve this myself. So quest is done. I'll reward the player. But you can also do cool things like if you're talking about a cool monster you saw at the lake, they're going to store that as a memory, and then that memory gets used when they're reasoning over what they want to do. So they might be more inclined to like go to the lake or go buy a weapon because they know there are monsters around or things like that, which I think is super cool to be able to influence them as a player. But it also gets even cooler when we have it disabled right now, but NPCs can talk to each other, and we simulate a conversation between like Alice talking to Bob, and that conversation inherently pulls from each of their memory stores and shares those memories with each other. So like if you tell one NPC a secret or something, that NPC might go tell that secret to other NPCs, and then they'll learn that secret and they can talk to you about it. Thank you. I appreciate that. This is such a like long term game that we've been building for so long. So like we've built most of these systems on stream over the past like probably 12 months. So I keep remembering that there's more and more, and it's cool to like revisit it all and talk about it. So I appreciate the questions as well. And I think I remember seeing you saying Souls-like games, but I don't think I read or responded to that comment. Mostly you focus on Dark Soulsy style games. Interesting. So you're very focused on like action and like precision and like skill, like player skill. Is that correct to say? Yeah, pretty much. Gotcha. Yeah, scope is getting bigger. Scope never stops getting bigger. That's why we take breaks to do these smaller games and then come back to the big one later. But yeah, that's super cool. I like the precision action games on like platformers like Celeste and things like that, but I'm so freaking bad when you get that in 3D and like combat and stuff. Dark Souls is fun to watch, but not my jam. But that's super cool. I wonder if actually I should just increase this above the stairs. Oh, right. We probably want to remove the ground layer from the stairs themselves and just add that to the plane. Did we do that over here? No, we didn't. So this guy should ground us when we're on it. This guy, oh right, that's why we still have the box collider on it. That's why we couldn't go up, I bet. Surely these don't have colliders on them now. Okay. Sure. Let's bring this back down then. Dark Souls is a game for old people. Play too many games when you're young, and Dark Souls, it's the only thing left. Oof. Because everything feels so easy. I feel that with like, I used to play a lot of competitive like StarCraft, and these days my fingers just don't even move that fast. Like I gotta play Dota or something where I'm only controlling one character. Just cause, you know, things aren't as easy as they were before. So why? Surely we're not actually colliding with the stairs, but maybe we are. So we'd want the plane. How do we do this over here? How does that look? It's mostly above the stairs, okay. So more like this. which is a pretty darn steep stair, actually. Gotta go. See you next time. Well, thanks for coming in, Commander. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for the help. Thanks for the chat. See ya. Thanks for the follow as well. Human has returned. What did you get to eat? What is the food? And also, why are stairs so hard? Okay, I'll just do a slope above the stairs, I guess. Seems fine. We'll just, you know, shape it to the stairs. Can I get away with that? Yes, but it's still too steep on this side. Well, actually, we should probably just fix the ground there, to be honest. Actually, just an omelet. I'm the omelet master, as my girlfriend says. It's spelled omelet, actually. I was gonna correct you, but good job figuring out yourself. What kind of omelet? What did you put in it? My wife is the omelet master, actually. And she makes a mean spinach and feta omelet. Sometimes with, like, some sort of meat. Some sausage. Good times. Alright, yeah, we'll just fix the stairs on the other side here. But this is looking fine. Let's go ahead and copy that. Exit out of this so we can apply it to the prefab. Yo, how are things going? Things are going good. We are fixing our stairs so we can actually go upstairs with the new character controller. And then we're just gonna sweep all of the other bugs under the rug and say they're good enough. So we take off the mesh renderer, we apply this to all of the prefabs in town, and then we cross our fingers and hope that the player can go upstairs again. Let's go find out. Ham, cheese, tomatoes. Everything on a grilled piece of bread and slices of cucumber around that. Topped with sriracha sauce. Wow, okay, Mr. Fancy over here. You can be the omelet master. Yeah, I mean, omelet on toast is very good too. So, I am mad about that. Tomatoes, I'll allow it. They're a little too juicy sometimes. I should really... The camera movement, I feel like I turn down every single time I play. Let's see, can I... X-axis 150, maybe like down to 100? That's still so fast. It's too fast, actually. Why? It's based on the size of the screen. Oh no. Okay. We'll turn that back to 150 and we'll just full screen this. There's definitely still some weirdness though. You allow it? Yeah. Tomatoes, you know, in an omelet are fine, but I don't want my omelets all juicy, like wet. Nah. Good thing I didn't use mushrooms. Yeah, see, tomatoes are good, mushrooms are not good. So, good thing you didn't use mushrooms. Alright, moment of truth for stairs. Can we walk? I mean, they're still very broken going downstairs, but at least we can go downstairs. A lot of the stairs are still broken going up, though. Oof. Are they good enough though because the player can just jump? Or is that too jarring? Let's try some other stairs. A little rough. Okay, these guys kind of work now. We should probably just fix the terrain there and call that good. Can we go up these stairs? We can. Okay, that's promising. Alright, maybe we just manually change the slope so things don't look as bad. Then this, we can call the stairs good enough for now. There's only a few that you need to jump up, which is jarring, but players can do it. Let's try these stairs one more time. Fine. At least the camera isn't shaking anymore when you go up the stairs as much. Maybe I'll, with the new camera, maybe we just need to like also delete some objects like this oak tree so we can actually see what we're doing sometimes. Yeah, I mean, people are gonna complain about the stairs, but it's something to fix later, I think. It's fine. Alright, let's do some tweaking then. How can we make this stairs a little bit less slopey? I think the answer is tweaking the terrain. Let's just bring it a little bit more in line with the stairs, I guess. Let's delete this tree so they can see what they're doing on the stairs. Probably want to flatten this a little bit more. Oh yeah. Wow. Set height to this. We could cut a hole in the terrain here, but I think the layer will be nice. Or the split, the slope. So that's fine. Probably should raise this up a little bit so they can get into the stairs. That's nice and flat. Let's readjust this. And then we need to fix these stairs over here. Yeah, it gets hard because the terrain has a slope that it wants. So we could paint a hole here. But don't really want to deal with holes in the terrain. We could also just extend it to be more stairs. Maybe we can just get away with something real kind of jank here. Do a little hill or something. It's looking better. That seems fine. We've got some clipping, but it could just be dirt on the stairs. We can just not have stairs. Hmm. It's not too bad. Not too much of a lip. It's probably fine. We'll take what we can get. And let's just raise this guy up a little bit more too. And this guy had problems also of just like degrounding us, but I think it's fine. It's all fine. Let's do one last hurrah running through the town. Let's see if any stairs are just stand out bad. Shout out to Dimitri, who is on some anti-anxiety medication that he had this morning. And he just is glonked out and has been sleeping in my lap for hours and hours and hours now. But all he knows is he gets treats in the morning and treats in the evening. And he's only fallen asleep on the couch and fallen off the couch a few times. Yeah, camera's gotta be just good enough. Man, the trees look good in this game. Who did that? Who knows, man? That looks so good, though. It does remind me I need to get our render distance back to normal, though. But they look so good, especially like out in the forest. Some of the like purple and pink ones, they look really good. All right, we need to test all these stairs. Hopefully the player can get up them. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. Anti-anxiety medication. What is Mr. Cat afraid of? The answer is everything, but specifically like neighborhood cats who come up to the door and like pound at the door. Birds, you know. Lots of stuff that he wants to tell us about. Yeah, we still have a lot of stairs we can't go up, which is gonna just be fine. But he's just an anxious little boy. So we're just testing out some anxiety meds for him to see if it gets him a little less anxious. He overgrooms his arms a lot, so we're just trying to cut out on that. Yeah, I don't know how we want to fix the stairs. Or at least like the slope on the player controller. Do these stairs work? They yeah, I guess we can go add more invisible ramps to these two. It's concerning that we'll need to do that throughout the whole world though. Oh yeah, we've got too much of a dip here now, so these stairs we'll just go redo. These stairs work though, so at least there's that. Great stairs. Camera's still real rough. Alright, let's fix these stairs and then let's see what we're working with. Dude, when you finish stream, let me know. I need to tell you the rabbit hole I've gone down. I'll let you know for sure. Gotta see where you're at, what you're working on. Alright, let's fix these stairs. Ooh, my system looks clutch. Heck yeah. Alright, can we clear this out such that the slope is fine? We're just gonna, you know, we'll do something like this. It's fine. We don't really need stairs. We can just make it look like a slope. At this point, I just want it to work. Alright, surely that's fine. Doesn't look terrible. Is fine. I guess we didn't rebake the nav mesh after all these changes anyway, so even if we had fixed it, it probably would have still collided with the divot there. Let's just paint a texture, make this look a little bit more like dirt. Same with up here, just kind of blend it in. Okay, didn't realize we have a big gap there now. Let's fix that real fast too. Cool. Alright, should be fine, should be fine. I think it is now 4 o'clock and there's probably some more stuff that I want to do on this input system. I don't think we're going to get to fishing today. Maybe this game will never have fishing, but we'll have to find out on a future stream. I think it's about that time. I bid everyone adieu. Let them go eat their dinner and go to bed, human. And find out what Tony Sprocket's been working on. So we're going to do one last run into town. Yeah, I definitely want to go redo a bunch of camera stuff again. Maybe I can... yeah, we'll test these stairs. We'll see. It's time for me to go to the grocery store and put my groceries in a fridge that works. Can you imagine that, human? I'll go a little bit later, but refrigerated groceries. All right, stairs. I'm coming for you. Hopefully this character can walk up them now. I can since today. Good, good, good. All right, we've walked up the stairs. We walked down the stairs. It's good enough. We deground and we do the jump animation, but you know what? It's fine. Camera collides on buildings very quickly, I think, is the main problem of like just throwing the camera around instead of more smoother collision maybe. But yeah, lots of stuff I want to fix. Let's test this ramp over here. And I think I've been working on this controller for too long on stream now. So we're going to do the rest off stream. And maybe next week I'll just come back with fun stuff. Maybe fishing. Who knows? Alright, we made it upstairs. Yep. Seems like it works. Ish. Alright. Well, thanks for joining me, people. Friends. Life quality maxed out. That's what I like to hear. Thanks for being here. Thanks again for the sub, Human. I'm glad that I was able to stream so that you could be productive. I may go play some Slay the Spire later. And I will see you on your next stream, which everybody should go watch. Thanks for being here, guys. No problem. Thanks for the stream. Thanks for hanging out. All right. Well, I'm gonna go have some more water. You should too. All right. Bye.